Hello students, how are you? So let's start with 5th standard environmental studies. Now we will see chapter number 7, experiments with water. We will revise this chapter children again. And in that we will see topic what is floating and sinking ability of an object. We will see what is buoyant force and what is meant by density. What floats and what sinks. Aisha was waiting for dinner. Today Ammi was making her favorite food, puri and spicy potatoes. Aisha watched as her mother rolled out the puri and put it into the hot oil. She saw that at first the puri sank to the bottom of the pan. As it puffed up, the puri came up and started flowing on the oil. One puri did not puff up and did not float like the others. On seeing this, Aisha looked and she took some dough and rolled it into a ball. She flattened it and put it in a bowl of water. Alas, it sank to the bottom and stayed there. So we will find out the reason for this. First of all, see what is floating and sinking ability. So float means to stay above the surface of the water and sinks means to go below the surface of water. As you can see, a ball is floating on the surface of water and sink means below the surface of water. So buoyancy is the tendency of an object to float in a liquid and density is the degree of compactness of an object. Upthrust is the force that pushes an object in a liquid. We will see one by one all these terms also. Before going towards that, first we will see what is matter and what is volume. So everything around us that has mass and volume, that is called a matter. Matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. And volume means what? The amount of space taken up or occupied by an object, it is called volume. And mass is the amount of matter in an object. How much amount of matter is present in that particular object, that is a mass. And volume means the amount of space that something occupies, that is volume. And density means what? The property that describes the ratio of mass and volume, means mass per unit volume, mass divided by volume. Volume is the amount of space. Here you can see that object is occupying some space, so that is a volume. So volume is amount of space that matter takes place. Now we will see what is density. Density is mass per unit volume. Here you can see two objects are there. So which is denser over here? So we will see how closely packed the stuff is within an object. So here in figure 1 you can see that molecules are not closely packed. And in second figure you can see that are packed, closely packed. So if something is more dense, that means more stuff is taking up that object space and is more closely packed. So here in these two figures, for figure number 1 is less denser and figure number 2 is more denser. It is depending upon how much closely the molecules arrange in that object. So volume is the amount of space that matter takes place. So density is determined by how close or far apart molecules are within that atom. So buoyancy or upthrust is an upward force exerted by a fluid that opposes the weight of a partially or fully immersed object. Here you can see one object is there and buoyant force is acting on that and weight is also there. So why some objects float while some objects sink? A coin sinks because its weight more than the water it displaced. So it is depending, floating and sinking ability depends upon how much its weight and how much amount of water is displaced by that particular object. The aluminum ball floats because it contains air within its folds. And air weighs less than the water, so the ball weighs less than the water it displaces. So buoyant force is equal to weight is equal to the object, fluids and stationary. So buoyancy or upthrust is always acting on that particular object. Now here we will see about Archimedes' principle. It states that when an object is partially or completely immersed in a fluid, it experiences an upthrust, upward force, which is equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by it. Here you can see some amount of water is displaced by that particular stone. So that is a displaced water. And that weight of the fluid displaced by water is equal to its upward or upthrust force. The upward force acting on an object immersed in a liquid resulting in the apparent loss of weight of the object is called buoyant force. And buoyant force is nothing but weight of displaced water. How much amount of water is displaced, that is its buoyant force. Students, when any object which is inside the fluid, two types of forces are acting on it. Weight of that object, a force equal to its weight acting downwards, it is acting downward, and buoyant force which is acting upward. So two types of forces are always acting on that particular object. And according to principle of flotation, the weight of the floating body is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by its submerged part. So weight of the floating object is equal to weight of fluid displaced by it, that is equal to the buoyant force. Certain things float on water while others sink. Everything displaces water equal to its volume. If the displaced water is more than the weight of the thing, then the thing floats. Otherwise it sinks in water. Okay, everything displaces water equal to its volume. If the displaced water is more than the weight of the particular thing, then that object floats. On the other hand, when the displaced water is less than the weight of the object, it sinks in water. Here children, you can see when weight of the object is more than the weight of the displaced water, object will sink. When the weight of the object is less than the weight of the displaced water, object will float on the surface of water. In case of ship which is hollow from within, the weight of the water displaced by the ship is more than the weight of the ship, hence it floats. And in case of an iron nail which is compact, tightly, closely packed molecules are there within that, the weight of the water displaced by it much less than its weight, that's why it is sinking in water. So students, we have seen in this first part, that is the topic whatever we have seen now, that is mass, volume and density. We have seen the floating and sinking ability of an object, we have seen what is buoyant force, and we have seen about density. Students, after watching that floating and sinking ability, what is buoyant force, after that we will see about solute, solvent, solution, soluble and insoluble substances. So let's see one by one. First of all, we will see what is solute. The solid that dissolves in a liquid, it is called solute. Example, salt. And the solvent means the liquid in which solute dissolves is called solvent. For example, water. And solution means what? Mixture of this solute and solvent. The liquid that we get when a solid dissolves in a solvent, it is called solution. So salt is solute, solvent is water, salt plus water is salty water, that is a solution. Now we will see what are soluble and insoluble materials. Soluble substances means the substances that dissolve in water are called soluble substances. When you mix sugar with water, or that sugar dissolves in a water and it makes a transparent solution. Salt is also soluble in water, and the substances that do not dissolve in water is called insoluble substances. Material like salt and sugar are soluble in water, but if you will take sand and water, so sand is not dissolving in water, so that is sand is insoluble in water. Now we will see one by one about different substances, whether they are soluble in water or not. Salt, yes, it is soluble in water. Salt and water got mixed together completely and water remained as transparent. Soil, no, soil doesn't dissolve in water. So soil settled down at the bottom and water became muddy. If you will take chalk powder, it is called calcium carbonate. So it is also not dissolving in water and it forms a whitish color in the test tube. Chalk powder settles down at the bottom and water becomes whitish. If you will take 1 spoon of milk, yes, it can dissolve in water, and milk and water got mixed together completely and water become whitish. Oil, no, oil doesn't dissolve in water. Oil floats on the surface of water. So students, we have seen in the second part, that is about solute, solvent and solution, and we have seen about solubility and insolubility of substances. Now students, we will see next topics related to chapter number 7, that is viscosity. We will see about evaporation and condensation process, and we will see about a Dandi March. Racing drops. Aisha put 2 drops of oil on the lid of her tiffin box. Next to that, she put 2 drops of water and 2 drops of sugar solution. She tilted the lid and she saw some drops slide down quickly and while some left behind. The drop of water went ahead, slide faster. Drops of oil or sugar syrup stick on the tiffin box. More thick, sticky is a liquid, more slowly it will flow. So if you will observe that sugar syrup as well as oil, they are more sticky as compared to water. But oil is more viscous than water, and thus when we put a drop of water and oil on a slant surface, water will move downwards more quickly than the oil drop. Now next is, where did the water go? One day Aisha's mother put some water to boil on the stove for making tea. She got busy with something and forgot about it. When she remembered and came back to check, she found very little water left in the pan. So think, where did the water go? The water got evaporated. Why did Chitti Babu and Chinna Babu keep their mango jelly in the sun? So they kept their mangoes jelly under the sun to evaporate water from it and make it dry, so that insect will not attack. At your house, what things are made by drying in the sun? So many things are there, you are observing also. For example, papad, potato chips, buddies, and many things are there. In summer season mostly your mother is used to do that things. So this is about evaporation. Evaporation, the changing of a liquid into vapors or gas, is called evaporation. Evaporation is used to obtain a solid substance that has dissolved in water or any other liquids. The dissolved substance is left as a solid residue when all the water has evaporated. As you can see it in the figure, if you will take salt and water, so salt will get evaporated and water will get evaporated and salt will remain behind. Condensation. Condensation, the changing of water vapor into liquid water on cooling, is called condensation. When that water drop is when you are heating water, suppose here you can take example of salty water. So when you are heating that, the vapors are, as they are light, so they are rising up, and if you will keep a lid or any cover on the mouth of that beaker, and if you will keep the ice on the top, that water vapors are evaporated, vapors are getting cool atmosphere at the surface of the lid or that any container. So at that time the vapors are converting into tiny droplets, and that process is called condensation. Students, now take some water in a glass, put a lemon in it. Now keep putting salt in water, half a spoon at a time, where you able to float your lemon in water. So what do you think, the lemon floated in salty water? If we take the normal water, the lemon will sink inside the water, but as you are keeping salt again and again, after that you will observe that the lemon is floating on the surface of water. Why? Because after adding salt, the water become thicker and thus the lemon started floating. And salty water's density and lemon density, it is depending upon the density. So lemon density is less, so it is floating on the salty water. Salty water's density is more. Now we will see about Dead Sea. All oceans and seas have salty water. The saltiest of all is the Dead Sea. How salty? Imagine 300 grams of salt in 1 liter of water. Would you be able to even taste such salty water? No. So it would be very bitter. Interestingly, even if a person does not know how to swim, that person would not drown in that sea. Okay, that person will float always on the sea because salty water density is more than human's body's density. So like that, lemon also floated on the surface of salty water. Now we will see about Dandi March. The incident took place in 1930, before India became independent. For many years, the British had made a law that did not allow people to make salt themselves. They had also put a heavy tax on the salt. By this law, people could not make salt even for use at home. How can anybody live without salt? Gandhiji said, how can a law not allow us to use freely what nature has given? Gandhiji said. So, with several other people, he went on a yatra, long walk from Ahmedabad to Dandi seashore in Gujarat to protest against this law. So, do you know how salt is made? The sea water is collected in shallow beds dug in the sand. Water is allowed to dry in the sun. After the water dries, the salt remains on the ground. So students, from the beginning we have seen in this chapter number 7 experiments with water, floating and sinking ability of an object. We have seen density, we have seen about buoyant force, we have seen soluble and insoluble substances, we have seen about solid, solvent and solution. After that we have seen about viscosity, we have seen evaporation and condensation process. After that we have seen about Dead Sea, we have seen about Dandi March, and we have seen how salt is prepared. So this is about chapter number 7 experiment with water.